Hello everybody and welcome back. I have an account for you tonight from a very small island up in the north, and it's the mysterious beast who is stripping sheep as the scary beast struck here again. A large beast with a taste for sheep is believed to be roaming the most remote parts of northern Scotland, stripping sheep from their skin and leaving no trace but bones and wool. The mysterious beast's latest catch is a hefty and healthy ewe of about 50 kilos. Her wool was neatly peeled off her skin before it was eaten. The carcass was found less than 100 yards from a croft in Swadler. The ewe belonged to Susan Macker, who is not the first crofter to fall victim to the unknown animal. Jim Johnson, 66, who lives in the village of Betty Hill, has developed a particular interest in the story and went to the property and photographed Mrs. Mackay with the carcass of her sheep. He told the Independent News that over the past 5 years, about 40 sheep had been found dead, apparently killed in one go, all neatly stripped of their skin before being eaten, across an area of about 200 square miles between the parishes of Farr and Tongue. The same pattern is happening over and over. Whatever animal is doing it, it manages to peel off the skin, probably because it doesn't like the wool, and it skins a sheep in the most expert way, removing the skin along the wool. It has a very powerful bite. It crunches right through the bones and kills the animal very easily, almost as if the animal was crushed with great force. It's very interesting, he said. Mr. Johnson remembers one instance when two animals were killed in exactly the same way, and they were found about 200 yards apart from each other. The first time, he said, I was convinced it was a cat, but this time I am less certain. The killings are very reminiscent of those from a few years ago, he said, still wondering whether the animal could possibly be a puma. According to Mr. Johnson, between 1976 and 81, there have been numerous killings of sheep attributed to the cat, despite hunts and searches for the animal. The mysterious predator was never found. People have been telling stories about it. It's like a joke, really, he said. Although it's very real if it happens to your sheep. There isn't very much news around here, so this is very exciting, said Mr. Johnson. Older readers may recall that way back in the halcyon days between 76 and 81, the area around Betty Hill and Skerry was haunted by a cat-like animal with a taste for mutton. The creature, which became known as the Scary Beast, and now the people of Farr are wondering if the large puma-like cat has returned. In the late 70s, there were searches, and there were armed hunts for the animal in the Bargy area on Navarrock and around Strathie. But though well-formed footprints were found, both in sand and snow, neither keepers nor crofters nor police marksmen were ever able to get close enough to take a good look or get a good shot at the creature or even identify it positively. In Swadler, a year or so ago, where a former cattleman, Andy McLachlan, was lamping for foxes, turning his light on a patch of thin woodland about 200 yards away across the Swadley Burn, he picked up a pair of extraordinarily bright eyes between the trees. Thinking this to be a fox, Andy switched on his beam and gave a couple of squeaks on his squeaker, a form of homemade whistle intended to emulate the sound of an injured rabbit or hare, and which lampers will use to lure a fox towards the gun. After a couple of minutes he put the lamp on again, and sure enough the owner of the eyes was moving towards him, only it wasn't a fox, but a sturdy long-tailed cat about the size of a Springer Spaniel, and now only 125 yards away. This was still a little far for a good shot, so he switched off and waited before lamping for a third time, whereupon the approaching feline bounded off into great leaps, quite unlike anything Andy has ever seen before. Andy has continued to lamp in the area, brave soul, in recent days, and he's had a further glimpse of the fast-moving creature, this time on the rocky ridge that separates Swadley from the A836, but was unable to determine whether this was the same animal. Meanwhile, Sheep belonging to Swadley cropper George Beemaker, currently working offshore, were being fed on the hill overlooking the glen by George's son Liam, an apprentice engineer. When Liam went to replenish the ring feeder about a fortnight ago, he found the remains of the carcass of one of his father's sheep just a few feet from the feeding site. Like the carcasses of the victims of the scary beast of 30-odd years ago, it has been cleanly flayed, leaving nothing but its hide and its skeleton to decay. As the feeding was done on a weekly basis, it was possible that the killer was up to a week old when he found it. However long it had taken to strip the unfortunate beast of its skin and bone, the end result was astonishingly reminiscent of the carcasses from all those years ago. Whatever the eventual outcome may be, there are startling parallels between what has been happening in Swadley in recent weeks and what's happened over a very wide area many years ago. Maybe this time the mystery of the beast will be solved. In the 1980s, sporadic sightings of the sheep-eating creature were reported, and in 2012 one man claimed to have seen the animal between trees. In an article released in April of 2018, it stated that the government figures for sheep killed by dogs was around 15,000, believe it or not. These sheep kills reminded me of the sheep mutilations found all across the UK by hikers and wild campers. So, has the scary beast returned? We shall find out. So until next time, thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.